Dana White has finally addressed his disappearing act at UFC 270, which meant he wasn't available to wrap the title around the heavyweight champion of the world, Francis Ngannou's waist, and he also didn't manage to attend the post-fight press conference. So let's talk about it before we do. My name's Rahul J. Chan. This is the Battle Camp. Thank you very much for joining me. If you're new to the channel, please do consider subscribing. All right, so where to start? So a couple of days ago, I saw a post on social media. I can't remember if it was the UFC or the ESPN MMA Twitter account that posted it, but they said there's a live Q&A with Dana White coming up in a couple of days. Stay tuned as I burp. And I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know if this is something that they always do, or if this is out of the ordinary for them to announce a Q&A that Dana White is doing a couple of days in advance. So that was the first thing that caught my attention. And I suppose the reason why it caught my attention is because I, like many of you, have been talking about the fact that Dana White was nowhere to be seen when Francis Ngannou won his heavyweight title fight, right? So the Q&A itself went ahead and it was hosted by Laura Sanko, who obviously does work with the UFC and ESPN, I believe, but I might be wrong. It might just be directly with ESPN, but she covers the UFC. But the point is, it felt as though it's an in-house personality that is hosting this Q&A. So I was a little bit surprised when Dana White voluntarily started talking about the situation, and he addressed the situation by saying he had to deal with something backstage, and that's what took him away from ringside. In fact, he said he had to go away directly after the co-main event, which is obviously Brandon Moreno against Figgy, so he wasn't there for the main event fight. And that's why he wasn't available to wrap the title around Francis's waist. Now, my response to that is this. First and foremost, obviously things happen backstage that we'll never know, right? Information that we'll never find out. But to me, it's a question of priorities, right? So this is obviously it's a question of priorities and optics, because this is obviously a task that Dana White does for every single title fight that happens in the UFC octagon. He's there to wrap the title around the waist of the winner, right? And given the current state between Francis Ngannou and the UFC, Dana White, the optics look off. And a man as intelligent as Dana White is, he surely should have realized, hold on a minute, if I'm not there, it's going to look bad. It's going to look bad on me, and it's going to look bad on the UFC. It's going to look like an act of pettiness and petulance, right? So the fact that he wasn't there suggests to me that if he's telling the truth, it was a major issue, a code red, a tier 1 incident that he needed to attend to behind the scenes. Now, I haven't heard or seen any reporter suggest of such an incident happening backstage. And you have to remember, there are a ton of people that are milling about over there, and there's a ton of eyes behind the scenes. And if something like that was to happen, then you'd imagine that that information would leak one way or another. And it hasn't. Just to add to that, during this Q&A, Dana White didn't talk about why he didn't make the post-fight press conference either. Because depending on the state of the situation and what he had to do to resolve the issue, how much time did that take? And how long do these press conferences go on from when the last fight happens to all of the fighters that are called up to be part of the press conference have their turn to speak to the press, right? So he had plenty of time to actually turn around and say, you know what? I've resolved this issue, if this issue actually did exist, and go back to the press conference and speak to the press and address the fact that he wasn't about. Now, as things were unfolding on fight night, one of the things that the cynic in me was looking at Francis Ngannou and the way he was moving, and all of the talk of this knee injury, I should say. And I was thinking to myself, is this a real injury? or is this something that Team Ngannou have, without sounding like I'm accusing them, I was just thinking, is this actually real, or are they really just playing a really good hand here by doing this fight and already saying he's injured, which would, you know, an injury, we all know it takes best part of a year to recover from. So is this just a part of the game? Is this just a strategy, a tactic to not fight for the remainder of the year? Do you know what I mean? And I don't know whether that is something that was running through Dana White's mind. But obviously, the other hand, it feels as though it's someone that has some involvement with the UFC that leaked this information, according to what Eric Nixick said to Ariel Helwani during the interview on the MMA Hour on Monday. There's a lot of moving parts here, but I suppose my view on it is I don't believe Dana White for a second. The forum that he chose to address this on, the way he addressed it, and the excuse that he provided, or the reason he provided, to me, it doesn't feel very satisfactory, right? Because during that piece, he spoke about how he was in a similar predicament with when Michael Bisping fought Luke Rockhold, and he had to rush out. He had to rush out to wrap the belt around Bisping's waist because he was dealing with something backstage. So what was stopping him from doing that on Saturday, right? But yeah, those are my views on the situation. And the thing is, I don't really think this is going to get brought up again or spoke about again to Dana White. If it is, he'll just dismiss it in his usual manner. But I feel as though people that are questioning the actions of Dana White on Saturday night are justified. And I don't feel as though the other side of the argument or the rebuttal, the response provided by Dana White is satisfactory. And that's my views on what happened on Saturday night and Dana White's response to his absence. Now, I'm not dressed like this for this video in particular. I'm actually going to rush off to work now. So I don't even know if I'll be able to upload this video today because it takes a while to edit and stuff like that. But I tell you what, I haven't dressed in work clothes for literally months, and I feel like a fucking bad bitch off Instagram. So I might post a selfie and put hashtag work with an E, WERK, because that's how I feel. But anyway, jokes aside, please do like, share, comment, all of that good stuff. Subscribe if you haven't already. I really need the subs because I'm very close to getting to 1,000 subscribers. That's been my target for the longest time. I need your help to get there. So please do help me. Feel free to follow me on the socials, Instagram, Twitter, all of that good stuff. It's at The Battle Camp. Wherever you go, my name is at The Battle Camp on social media. So give me a follow. Anyway, I'll catch you guys next time.